What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Evander, the real deal, Holyfield. Evander Holyfield names the hardest puncher he's ever faced, but it is not Mike Tyson, okay? Of course, we know that the former undisputed cruiserweight champion made history when he defeated Buster Douglas to become the heavyweight champion of the world in 1990. Of course, that's when Buster Douglas upset Mike Tyson. However, in the first defense, he was matched up against the fearsome Foreman, George Foreman, in what was billed as the Battle of the Ages. Despite getting wobbled on several occasions, Holyfield prevailed and established himself a genuine heavyweight. But the real deal met his match in Bo, and their trilogy of heavyweight fights are the stuff of legend. In fact, Holyfield still considers the first man to knock him out to be the biggest puncher he's ever faced. George Foreman hit me with the hardest punch, Holyfield said in an interview, but Riddick Bowe hit me more than anybody with big shots. Okay, he says, in not winning my first fight with Riddick Bowe, I was kind of inspired by people saying, GD, it's one of those things, if you hit him, he's not going to stop coming. I always remember that was inspiration, that I could take something everyone was asking. What's going to happen if this guy gets hit by some big guy? I guess the first heavyweight fight that was really kind of taxing was when I fought Michael Dokes. But after Michael Dokes, I kind of grew into how to hang in with the guys who are much bigger and had a little bit more experience than I. Once I knew I could be hurt, I remembered at one point in time I thought I could never be hurt because it never happened to me. But the first time Bert Cooper caught me with a shot, they gave me my first 8 count. Then I realized, wow, when he hit me, I didn't see that shot. All I remember is my legs, rubber, dangling. I realized, but I never got hurt again until I fought Riddick Bowe. The art of the game is to get hit when you do something wrong. So the art of the game is you only get hit when you do something wrong. So even sometimes you may get hit, but you may do something wrong and the guy didn't swing, so you're kind of thankful. I'm going to stop there. Look, George Foreman hit Evander Holyfield the hardest. Riddick Bowe hit him more times. Okay, so of course we know George Foreman can punch. Ask Michael Moore, right? And it's one of those things where I see what Evander's saying, who hits the hardest, and I like how he broke it down. Well, Riddick Bowe actually hit me more and knocked me out, but George Foreman hit me the hardest. Okay, let me counterpunch that real quick. I know when he put emphasis on Mike Tyson, like who it wasn't, and it wasn't Mike Tyson that hit him the hardest. The thing about Holyfield, you have to understand about any fighter, the strategy, the style and the way that Evander Holyfield fought Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson wasn't able to get those shots off like he was with other fighters, with that dynamic athletic gift that he has. You know, he was like this freakish guy at 12 years old, 190 pounds. Okay, so he was a cruiserweight then, being an adolescent. So he knew how to punch. He knew how to destroy. But Evander Holyfield backed up Tyson, so Tyson wasn't able to get off those shots. So I really feel that Evander Holyfield never really felt the true power of Tyson. He just knew to stay away from the power of Tyson. Okay, just like Ernie Shavers was one of the hardest punchers, but he didn't knock out the biggest or the best fighters. Okay, you know, they just know he could punch. That didn't mean that he was like the best or whatnot. But it just means that he didn't get hit with those punches that he's known for. He wasn't known for Mike Tyson's punches. So I have to counterpunch that, you know, and George Foreman hit him and he was able to connect with him. And he said he hit the hardest, and he said he was wobbled a couple times, but he wasn't able to get hit enough with those huge shots to put him down to the canvas. Okay, but Riddick Bowe, with the style that Riddick Bowe had, he was able to hit him with enough punches in stopping Evander Holyfield their first fight. Okay, so that's what I need to clear up, because Evander's making it like, well, it ain't Tyson. Well, you didn't. Tyson never hit you flush. A lot of those punches Tyson hit him with was grazing punches. They weren't flush punches. Okay, so that's just let me counterpunch Evander Holyfield with that. Also, what Evander Holyfield did, he said he adjusted to the punching power with Burt Cooper, and then Riddick Bowe, and countless other guys, and he could hang in there with them. And people asked what he could do, and he hung in there. But let me tell you something, people. Yes, he hung in there. Yes, he's a warrior. Yes, he took it and he gave it back. But guess what? At the same time, we can clearly see to this day that he paid the price. Okay, Evander Holyfield paid the price of taking these big punches from fighters that were bigger than him. They were bigger than him. Look, if you look at most of Evander Holyfield's fights, Foreman, Lewis, Bowe, he's the smaller dude. Okay, the only person that he was really taller than, not necessarily bigger, was Mike Tyson. But Mike Tyson is not reviewed as a huge heavyweight. You know what I mean? He just fought with the will of iron, and he just had this athletic gift, and he could knock you out with either hand. He was just that gifted offensively. Okay, so that was one of the things that he had over Mike. Okay, he was taller, and he was just as big. Okay, so but with normal fights with Evander Holyfield, he's used to being in there with smaller guys, and he used his size in his speed, kind of like Usyk will need to do. And I'll talk about him in another interview, and that he needs to know what he needs to do. He needs to use what he has, and Evander Holyfield used that. But at the same time, he took a lot of punches. Evander Holyfield was known for playing possum. Okay, that means that he makes you think that he's hurt, but he's taking the punches to make you punch yourself out so he can come back with a rally of his own. And he was classic for it. That's why they called him the Warrior. Okay, because he took punches, and you thought, oh man, Evander's hurt, and he's just not absorbing all this punishment and taking and grazing and rubbernecking some of these shots. But a lot of these shots were hitting him and damaging him, and you can tell that to this day. Even though he gave us classic fights, the Riddick Bowe fights was classic. The Lennox Lewis fights, not so much. I enjoyed the second fight. I think the second fight should have been closer to a draw. Surely a lot closer than the first fight. The first fight was fixed. But definitely, I feel that Holyfield gave what he gave, and he entertained how he entertained, and he beat some of the best. But then, he paid the price. Okay, so if he can remember George Foreman hitting him the hardest, he can also remember a lot of dangerous shots that he took. Okay, so, but I will say this. It says a lot about George Foreman, even that George Foreman that he fought at that time. That power never left. George Foreman is about 70, 71 years old right now. You let that man hit you, he will knock you out. That power doesn't leave. He will die with that power, okay? Just wish he could give it to somebody before he croaks. But he has hard punches. Ask Michael Moore. And then, a lot of people criticize Moore about his chin. But let me tell you, I think George Foreman did something psychologically to Michael Moore when he knocked him out. He opened that Pandora's box that, and exposed these nerves that he had, in his cerebral. Okay, that's why he wasn't able to take a lot of shots. Okay, he was knocked out by George Foreman, and years later when he was on his comeback, he was knocked out by David Tua, I believe, in 48 seconds or 53 seconds or something like that. And it was like massive knockouts. And the thing is, it just shows you that once a fighter gets exposed to that degree, a lot of punches they're not going to take. They get the Amir Khan syndrome. Okay, so, that shows you a lot about George Foreman setting trends with his power. Okay, so it had to be someone else powerful enough to activate that switch in that cerebral for more and take him out. But Evander Holyfield, back to him, was a special case altogether. That man could absorb punches. Yes, he could be hurt, but he absorbed a lot of punches. That was a gift, that he could take those punches and he could give it back, and he gave it back because something was already instilled in this man, that I'm not going to fold and I'm going to give back what you guys give to me. But then again, he paid the price. But it is interesting, to say the least, about the hardest hitter that Evander Holyfield ever faced was George Foreman. You guys tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.